Hey everybody, it's Adam. I want to bring you a couple poses to work on today using the wheel. We're going to go through full wheel and forearm wheel using the wheel today. So grab your wheels, grab your mats, and start to roll out our backs. So come onto your hips, bend the knees, bring the knees about hip distance apart, and then we'll grab the wheel, bring the wheel to about the middle of the spine. Be about halfway into your mat, not too far towards the top. You don't want to roll off your mat. And then we'll bring the hands out wide, press into the fingertips, slowly press into the heels, lift your hips off the ground. We'll bring the wheel to about the middle of the spine. Turn the palms to open towards the ceiling. Let your head hang back as it feels comfortable. Take a couple breaths here. So part of this is creating security for you on the wheel, knowing that the wheel can support you and hold you and help find you some comfort in these back bends. And take one more breath. Inhale. Exhale. All right, now from here, let's bring the wheel all the way to the top of the spine. And then once you reach the top, go all the way back down. And we'll do that a few more times, nice and slow. So rolling out your back. I'm trying to align some vertebrae, get some kinks out, and start to get a general feel of how your back feels in general. That's a little redundant. Now, if we want to involve the arms, let's bring the wheel to about the base of the neck, reach up, grab the wheel with both hands. Elbows stay squeezing and next to the ears. Don't let the elbows flare out. All right, now from here, we're going to come back into this and just take a little stretch. The elbows don't need to come to the ground. This is a version of forearm wheel. We'll get into this more later. But for right now, we're just trying to feel the stretch. So if the elbows touch the ground, great. If they don't touch the ground, just feel the stretch. Take 2 more breaths here. All right, and then slowly let's come back down. We're going to bring the hips all the way down to the mat. Release the wheel. All right, let's grab the shins and bring ourselves forward. All right, we're going to go right into a seated shoulder opener. Okay, so grab your wheel, sit in a nice hero's pose or a comfortable seat for you, but make sure you can have a very nice long spine. All right, now grabbing the wheel, I'm going to bring my fingers to the inside and pinch my thumbs to the outside wheel. All right, bringing the wheel up and over the head. I'll turn sideways so you guys can see me a little better. All right, so holding the wheel just above the head, we'll start biceps by the ears. All right, now depending on how your shoulders feel, we're going to gently start to let the wheel pull the arms back. Now feel this out. Don't go anywhere you can't. Gazing up might help relieve a little bit of pressure. If you want to add a little bit more, you can bring your chin towards your chest. We're going to be here for about another 10 seconds. Try to keep the elbows nice and long, not locked out, just long. Strong through the hands. Nice, squeeze your shoulder blades together behind you. Nice, 2 more breaths. Next inhale, bring the wheel back above the head. All right, and back to the ground. So turn back around. We're going to take a dolphin pose with the wheel. So putting some integrity back into the shoulders. So just did some opening with that warm-up and then that shoulder opener we just took. So let's get some strength back into your shoulders. So taking our dolphin pose with the wheel, I'm going to grab the wheel, thumbs to the cushion side, fingers to the inside, elbows nice and firm into the mat. Crown of the head is going to push right directly into the wheel. All right. Now from there, let's lift the hips and then walk the feet towards the elbows for your dolphin pose. Now, if this doesn't feel good, if the wheel towards the crown of the head doesn't feel good, you can lose the wheel. We're really just looking to put some integrity back into the shoulders. So once you find your version of dolphin, press your elbows into the ground and feel your shoulders engage. Going to be about 20 more seconds here. If you want to add more for your hamstrings, you can start to walk the feet in little bits at a time. Pull the wheel back towards the crown of your head. 10 more seconds here. Press firmly into your elbows. If this is too much for the hamstrings, you can bend the knees, but keep pressing into your elbows. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath in. And on the exhale, let's bring the knees to the mat. Sit back on the heels. All right, nice job. Now let's open the shoulders back up again. So come into our melting heart. So we're going to take melting heart with the wheel. The wheel is going to add a lot of intensity. So if it doesn't feel good, lose the wheel. Just bring your hands to the mat. But if you like that intensity, Both hands are going to be on top of the wheel. Knees about hip distance apart, or they can be a little more towards center. Just feel it out, whatever feels best for you. But keep your hips nice and high. So we're not hips back towards the heels like child's pose. Hips are right on top of the knees. All right, now we're going to gently engage the shoulders and drop the chest towards the ground. Now, about 30 seconds here. Now try to keep the hips on top of the knees. Maybe your forehead comes all the way down to the ground. Maybe your chest is hovering pretty far away. So just feel this out to what feels best for you. Keep the tops of the shoulders engaged. And just feel that openness in the chest and through the armpits. It's about 15 more seconds here. Think about pushing the wheel away from you on the inhales and then dropping the chest on the exhales. So you're actively moving. 2 more breaths. Big breath in. Exhale. And let's come all the way back. Hips to the heels. Take an embryo pose. So let your chest rest on top of the legs. Arms reach down by our sides. And then forehead down to the mat. That nice big release to the shoulders. Take about 3 or 4 more breaths here. Two more breaths. One more breath. All right, press yourself back up to a seat. All right, now we're going to get into our forearm wheel. All right, so very similar to the warm-up that we just took. Bring your wheel to about middle of your spine. Knees about hip distance apart, heels pressing into the mat. Now this time we're going to reach up and overhead and grab the wheel. So before we even get the hips off the ground, we're grabbing the wheel. Now if you're searching for the wheel, you just can't grab it. Maybe your shoulders aren't open enough to where you can grab it. Bring the wheel closer up to the top of your head, right? So don't let that be the challenging part of this pose, right? So bring the wheel to somewhere comfortable where you can grab it. Thumbs on the cushions, fingers on the plastic, elbows squeezing in next to your ears. Now slowly lift the hips. Walk the heels in towards your hips as you come over. Now, just like our warm-up, maybe the elbows don't touch the ground, all right? But if they do, you can start to press into the elbows and feel the chest open up a little more. Now, I'm going to take a couple of breaths here. Lift the hips off the wheel. Now, if your elbows do come down to the ground and you want to take this into a little bit more of a forearm wheel, walk the heels in, just a little inside the knees. Press your elbows into the ground, and then start to lift your shoulders off the wheel. All right, now we're starting to intensify this. If you want more into the back bend side, walk your feet in towards your fingers. All right, and maybe think about lifting your chin towards your chest. Press your forearms or press your elbows into the ground, and then press your armpits past your wrists. 2 more breaths. All right, now come back to your wheel first. So you might have to walk the feet back. Let the shoulders come back to the wheel. And then we'll come back down. Hips to the ground. And we'll take another set of embryo pose. All right, so just finding a nice embryo pose in between. Knees together, arms down by the sides. 3 breaths here. Feel that release in the shoulders. One more time. All right, let's come back up to a seat. All right, so next we're going to get into full wheel with the wheel. What I really like about this pose with the wheel is that a lot of times with wheel, we're starting with our backs on the ground. It's really difficult to get into that point where your shoulders and everything that you need to have engaged is engaged. With the wheel, your back is already off the ground far enough to where all those muscles are engaged or able to be engaged. So for me, it's a little more achievable. And then you can also work into some cool depth from there as well. Okay, so grab your wheel. Again, pretty close to what we just did. Wheel to the middle of the back. This time, arms out to the side. Push into the heels, lift the hips. And now we're going to bring the arms overhead, just like we're moving into our traditional wheel pose. Fingers nice and spread wide. I like to bring my hands a little wider than shoulder width. All right, so just like we did earlier with our forearm wheel, walk your heels in a little inside your knees, because when you lift up, you're going to shift the body. Okay, so we want our feet to be more or less where they need to be. All right, press into the hands first, just lifting off the wheel. All right, so maybe we're just lifting off the wheel. Take a couple breaths to feel the engagement, and then gently set your back down. Adjust if you need to, right? So the hands too wide, bring them in. If they're too narrow, bring them out. Adjust the feet. All right. Now, again, we're going to come back into this, adding on a little bit more intensity. Press into the hands, lift up. All right. Now, just like our forearm wheel, walk your heels in towards your hands. So adding more depth into your back bend. Pressing the armpits past your wrists. And then maybe bringing your chin up towards your chest. So taking this to a depth that feels good for you, feels challenging. Keep the glutes engaged. Keep pressing up through your hips. Take 2 more breaths here. And then slowly we'll come back down to the wheel. Now, cautionary, should have maybe warned you before this. Sometimes when we lift off the wheel and our full wheel, the wheel shoots out. And then we kind of come back down and we don't know where it's at. So it might not be there for your support as you come down. Just be careful. Come back into your embryo pose. So last set of embryo pose, just to give the shoulders a big release. Well, 3 to 5 breaths here. You can tuck your chin more to your chest. Really collapse into the legs. Let the forearms rest into the mat. Let's take one more breath. All right, then press yourself back up to a seat. Let's move the wheel off to the side. We're going to move into a quick shoulder opener. So come onto your bellies. So transitioning from a Sphinx pose. So come onto the elbows. All right, feet can be hip distance apart. All right, now bring your right arm forward. Make a little tent with the fingertips. And then we're going to creep that left arm right underneath over to the right side. All right, and then the right arm is going to make a big X with the biceps and move towards your left side. So you should end up with a big X with the biceps, right bicep in front of the left. Okay? Now from here, palms face down, lengthen your chin towards the top of your mat, and then let your throat rest on top of your biceps. So feeling a big opening between the shoulder blades. If you want more, you can start to walk the fingers out. Also, you can press into the toes and move the body forward, shoulders over the elbows a little bit more, or if you want less, bring them back away from the elbows. There's 2 more breaths here. All right, now we'll start by walking that right fingers forward again. And then bring your left arm out. And come back to your Sphinx pose. Big breath in. Exhale. All right. Other side, left arm extends out long. Right fingertips underneath. And then walk the left arm in front. So making that big X with the biceps again. Fingers out wide, palms facing down. Lengthen the chin forward. And let your chin rest on top of the front bicep. And take a few breaths here. Feel it out first, and then if you want to add the intensity, like on the other side, fingers can extend out towards the opposite sides. Toes can press into the mat to press the body forward for more, and take the body back for less. And just a couple more breaths. Last breath. Lift the chin first. Walk the left arm long in front. Untuck the right arm. Back into your Sphinx pose. And press into your elbows. Take a big breath. Big exhale. And lower the chest down to the mat. And then gently start to press yourself back up to a seat. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I hope your back feels great and your shoulders are a little more open. If you have any questions, hit us up. Love you guys. Namaste.